Greetings, it's been a while, and there's been a lot of things going on, so I'll get started right away. Today I'm going to talk about what is a non-playable character. Many of you know what it is. It's a term gamers use for a video game. A video game character that is controlled by the game's programming, or in some cases artificial intelligence now. Non-playable characters serve a number of purposes in the game, including plot devices to advance the storyline or even act as a partner to the sidekick, to the player, the gamer. NPC is sort of a background character within someone else's adventure, as opposed to being the hero of having their own adventure. So this has been going around on the internet, and I started to try to understand it. It sounded very interesting. So why is this non-playable character meme striking such a chord in social media? And then how does it seem to relate to our spiritual studies, our spiritual journey? Most of us always go back to the way we feel like we've been left out of the game of life. That kind of makes us feel like a non-playable character. So what if you're not the hero of your story? What if you're not anything more than a non-playable character? What if you're virtually unable to break out of the storyline that's been written for your character, like myself? I've been playing out the same sequence of life events over and over again for the past 60 years. I can only reach a certain level. There's like a ceiling to everything, and then I have to start over. So I never seem to reach and break through and have a success like other people. Every time I'm about to have these breakthroughs, and a success where my character within the storyline experiences some level of success, promotion, whatever, some sort of a tragedy still sort of follows and forces me back to starting over. So could it be that God's game of life, my character, is programmed to never reach that next level of play? What if I'm stuck in this sort of game level? My storyline never changes. I experience things over and over again. You'd think at some point I would learn enough to move on, but I don't. It's at best, my life is only slightly upgraded every so many years, I think, to accommodate the hero moving to the next level of play. Of course, it's natural to blame someone else for our inability to overcome these obstacles in life, especially when our character in the story never seems to break through that predetermined limit of success. Have you ever noticed everything always seems to reach a crisis point and then wham? At least in my case, I experience things like near deaths, where I have to start over. 1 minute I'm about to become the hero of the story, and then the game is rebooted. There's a couple of interesting ideas that I had with this realization. As a sidekick character, my success is determined by my character accepting the program's predetermined written storyline for my character. Following the rules of the game ensures that the storyline, the program, is uncorrupted and the game's integrity is held in place. As an NPC, we show up in the game and do exactly what it is that we've been programmed to do. We follow a written script our entire life. We play our part in the game of life as was planned by the programmer. We play our character in all the different aspects of the game, these various levels, and slowly, in some cases, we can transform our non-playable character into possibly being a hero. So how can we become a hero? Presently, we're blind to the fact that we're not the hero of the story in the first place. Many of us still believe that the story surrounds all of us. Like, I'm at the center of the storyline. And as the centerpiece, like on a chessboard, while every other piece on the board sort of gravitates to us. The dreaded truth as a spiritual seeker, something I've uncovered, is very painful that I'm not the hero of the story. In fact, I'm just a non-playable character in someone else's game. So who is this someone else? It's this piece of information that keeps us entangled in the rules of the game. As we try to break the rules, believing this corrupt behavior will somehow transform us into the hero, the truth is God created the game and all the rules, and is the programmer. The rules are not created as the action-packed hero plays the game. The fact is, the playable characters called the heroes are nothing more than glorified NPCs like ourselves. We're all NPCs. In Book 3 of Authority Taken, hopefully you'll remember, Miranda confided in Master Annals, in God, that she felt like nothing more than a pawn in God's great game of chess. God answered, saying, "Perhaps, but consider for a moment, if you follow through and play in our game to the end, you will discover something very special. While every pawn starts out in the game with limited movement, that very pawn has the ability to become a queen when it reaches a point. And as you know, the queen is the most powerful piece on the board. The queen has more ability on her own to win the game, and even a king doesn't have these abilities, even though it's the protection of the king." So he went on to say that, "Think what you will, we have no hidden agenda. We say only this, that our goal is greater understanding of the self. There is no greater purpose. It's all about you, my child. We have loved you enough to grant you the freedom to do whatever you want to do. Things will not be easy. Life in the harsh realm is like a game, and love is just one of the many rewards. But to receive it, you'll need to play in the game. The only thing you need to know in order to win the game is that there's nothing that we cannot do, and there is nothing that we shall not do while we are in pursuit of understanding the self." So here I believe that God, Master Annals, is saying that he is the master programmer of the game, and he can make or break the rules whenever he wishes to. There are several clues throughout the Heaven Shattered series that God loves a good game of chess, and that all the NPCs, the pawns, are actually, if you study it closely, God's helpers. Characters that are in service and promote the advancement of the outcome of his game. This means that NPCs are not victims or pawns to be taken advantage of, or even used by the hero for their personal advancement. In fact, each of us have different levels of success in which the hero advancement is ensured. It's when the game reaches an impasse and a reboot is initiated to start the game over. I have memories of beating all the odds in the game. I even seen myself as the hero within a particular storyline, maybe even two, maybe more. But as time passes, my energy levels always diminish. I always find myself not fully charged, not able to recharge my energy levels. And I find myself unable to continue in the game, and I'm forced into safe mode. Playing in the game takes a toll on your body and your soul, something we seem to have no control over as non-playable characters. The power and influence with regards to energy levels seem to be dedicated to ensuring the hero of the game succeeds. So where does this leave us? Well, I think the good news here is God created the game, not the heroes, not the action-adventure characters, not even the fallen ones. True NPCs follow God's script that has been programmed into the program. It might feel like we're limited to certain scripted responses and actions at times, but honestly, we're all trapped in the game, including the heroes and the fallen ones. And that makes us all NPCs. The real master of the game is not only the program creator. Characters that have reached an understanding of that bit of truth also understand that the master programmer is actually an end user. That means player of the game. Means the programmer is playing the game, whether it's an action hero playing or a non-playable player to manipulate or advance the game's story. For the average human mundane, useful idiots is what they're kind of called. We now have a new dictionary term, an NPC, a non-playable character. The game of life's main objective is simple: preserve one's energy while ensuring the integrity of the game's original programming. In rare cases, an NPC can retain energy and sort of move forward in the game like a game of chess, like a pawn, and finally reaches the other side of the game board. The pawn is awarded a promotion, and at this point the pawn then uses this promotion to change his storyline. In the case of a pawn in the chess game, can change for any other piece of its own color except the king. Therefore, a pawn can be promoted to a queen, a rook, a bishop, or a knight, whatever we feel is beneficial for the continuation of the program. A promotion of a pawn only happens as a direct result of the hero either ignoring the pawn by design, or the hero uses the pawn as a block in the game. All of these things may even be just a series of coincidences, but the pawn's advancement in the storyline by design eventually will reach a promotion, or sidelined, taken off the board, and is put into safe mode. The pawn has now been sort of, as we say, safe mode, has been demoted, been forced back to a non-playable character. He's lost that promotion. When your character has been reinstated in the next reboot of the game, you're offered, a position on the board, or you're sort of like a spectator watching. You're sort of sitting at home watching television, drinking, using drugs, having sex. All of these distractions are by design to keep you occupied until your character is needed once again in the story. The interesting thing about what's going on in our world today is the situation that is playing out with the non-playable characters joining together in a hive-like mentality, using chaos and anarchy to break the rules of the game. Strangely, this is leaving fewer, not more, heroes on the playing board. In other words, there are fewer pawns reaching the other side of the board. fewer heroes that are left in the game are gathering all of the points, they're saving all the energy, and while the non-playable characters are distracted and actually losing their purpose in the game, meaning that they'll never reach the other side of the board, and they'll never receive a character promotion. So does this chaos mean we're witnessing the master programmer losing control of the program's integrity? The game's integrity has always been maintained through a disciplined compliance program. I guess that's for a lack of better words, using game terms, to ensure that the game strictly adheres to its original intent, coding and compliance, and therefore the game has always, in the past has always performed at its best. Establishing an effective compliance and ethic component of the program has never been more necessary to protect the game's integrity than it is now. At the program's core, an effective program, artificial intelligence, if you want, should be set up to protect the game by detecting and preventing improper conduct by the NPCs, and therefore it sort of promotes adherence to the game's original intent. The only rule of God's game has always been that God makes the rules, and that means God is always and always has been the player, the hero of the game. It gets confused when non-playable characters think and act like they're the heroes. So as you discover, or at least start to understand, there is nothing wrong in being God's sidekick in the story. The point I'm trying to make here is to help you to understand that there is no grand scheme to control and keep us from winning the game. The game was never programmed to have winners or losers. It was only to play in the game. The fallen ones would have us believe that we're all losers. That would mean that they believe the rules are made to be broken. And this happens when you doubt God's original intent and the rules of the game. Look around and you'll see the order that can be seen in the grand design of God's game. At the basic level of the game, the non-playable character should desire little and receive less. But when the NPCs mistakenly interpret their purpose as the hero of the game, their true purpose, which is to assist the hero advance in the game, is lost. When the hero reaches the next level of accomplishment, it means the pawn, the NPC, has reached the next level in the, I'm going to use chess terms here, reaches the other side of the board and therefore receives a promotion. My point is, only God knows all the rules. It's his game. We can be the best NPC, or we can pretend to be the hero and deteriorate the game's integrity, help the action-packed hero advance to the next level, or continue to be a non-playable character stuck in safe mode by default. Our success comes as we follow a strict coherence to the rules. It ensures the integrity of the game. Our purpose in the game is to passively discover the truth and hope that our character is part of the strategy of the hero of the game, the player, while we advance towards a promotion to a higher level of play. I think the next session will be about how to, we've talked about perfectly possessed, and this is where it all comes. These NPCs that have been perfectly possessed, we need to understand how to detect, how to understand which person has been perfectly possessed in order to succeed in the game. So until the next time, may everybody stay well, and I'll see you soon.